You wake up one morning and something feels off. The name of your neighbor, someone you've known for years, just won't come to you. Later that day, you find yourself standing in the kitchen, staring at the refrigerator, trying to remember what you came for. At first, you brush it off as normal aging, but what if I told you that one of the most dangerous threats to your memory is hiding in something as innocent as the snack you had just before bed? And no, I'm not talking about fast food or candy bars. I'm talking about foods you've always believed to be healthy, the kind you eat thinking they're helping you stay well. As a brain doctor who spent decades studying the silent decline of memory in adults over 60, I can tell you that late-night snacking is far more dangerous than most people realize. The aging brain is uniquely vulnerable to what you put in your body right before you sleep. In fact, certain snacks can silently inflame your brain cells, disrupt memory storage, and even accelerate the progression of cognitive decline. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Today I'm going to walk you through the 9 common nighttime snacks that could be quietly sabotaging your memory and what you should be eating instead. But first, you need to understand why this problem is especially dangerous for older adults and how something so small can set off a chain reaction in your brain. As we get older, the brain's chemistry doesn't just slow down, it changes in ways that make it far more sensitive to what you eat, especially at night. In your younger years, your brain could handle small fluctuations in blood sugar or a little extra inflammation without much trouble. But after 60, these same changes can have a much greater impact. Why? Because your brain's repair systems are no longer working at full capacity. One of the biggest shifts comes from your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs when your body is most alert and when it should rest. After sunset, your body naturally lowers insulin sensitivity, meaning it can't process sugar as efficiently. This is why eating carbohydrate-heavy snacks at night can cause prolonged spikes in blood sugar. For a senior's brain, that extra glucose doesn't just sit quietly in the bloodstream, it triggers a cascade of inflammation, oxidative stress, and interference with the brain's ability to consolidate memories during sleep. I've seen it happen countless times in my clinic. Seniors who seem sharp in the morning but experience fuzzy thinking by afternoon often have one thing in common: their nighttime eating habits. One patient, Mrs. Han, 70, came to me worried about her short-term memory. She'd forget conversations she had just the day before and often misplaced everyday items like her glasses. After reviewing her diet, I discovered she routinely ate a healthy slice of multigrain bread with honey before bed. She believed it was harmless after all, it wasn't cake or candy. But the timing of that sugar and starch intake was quietly working against her brain's overnight repair cycle. When the brain is forced to manage glucose spikes during sleep, it diverts resources away from vital functions like clearing out amyloid plaque, a sticky protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. Over time, this nightly disruption becomes a slow but steady assault on your memory. And because these changes happen gradually, many people don't connect the dots until the damage is already significant. So if you think your harmless evening snack isn't making a difference, think again. The aging brain doesn't bounce back the way it used to. Every night you feed it the wrong fuel. You're trading a little more of your clarity, focus, and recall for a moment of comfort. And if you think the problem is limited to obviously sugary foods, you're in for a surprise. Even so-called healthy options can have a hidden impact that's just as damaging. And the next section might make you rethink some of your favorites. Most people think of sugar in terms of candy bars, cakes, or sodas. But in my years of working with seniors, I've found that the most damaging sugar often hides in foods marketed as healthy. Many of these snacks are chosen before bedtime with the belief that they're light, nutritious, and safe. Unfortunately, for an aging brain, the reality is far different. Let's take fruit yogurt, for example. You might pick it thinking it's a wholesome source of calcium and probiotics. But the flavored varieties, even those labeled low-fat or light, often contain more sugar than a small can of soda. When eaten during the day, your body has more opportunity to burn through that sugar. But at night, your metabolism is winding down, your insulin sensitivity is at its lowest, and that sugar lingers in the bloodstream. Whole grain crackers are another deceptive culprit. Yes, they may have more fiber than refined ones, but they still break down quickly into glucose. Combine them with a slice of cheese or a dab of jam, and you've created a sugar and fat combination that keeps your blood sugar elevated for hours. This not only feeds inflammation, but also interferes with the brain's ability to file away the memories you've formed during the day. I remember working with Mr. Choi, 74, who prided himself on avoiding desserts. His evening routine was a few whole grain crackers with low-fat yogurt while watching the late news. He thought he was making the smarter choice compared to chips or ice cream. Yet, over the past year, he noticed more frequent senior moments, forgetting appointments, mixing up names, even repeating stories to his friends without realizing it. When we ran a glucose monitor test, it revealed his blood sugar was spiking to unsafe levels right after his bedtime snack and staying elevated well into the night. The science is clear. These sustained glucose elevations interfere with the hippocampus, the part of your brain that's essential for forming and storing memories. Imagine trying to save an important file on your computer while a virus is running in the background. That's what your brain experiences when you snack on hidden sugars at night. So the next time you reach for something healthy before bed, ask yourself, is it truly nourishing your brain or quietly sabotaging it? And if you think the risk stops at sweet or carb-heavy snacks, wait until you hear the story of one man whose nightly fruit habit almost cost him his independence. Mr. Kim was 68 years old, a retired high school teacher, and the kind of man everyone in his neighborhood respected. He walked daily, read voraciously, and kept his mind active by tutoring students for free. On the surface, he seemed to be doing everything right to protect his brain health. But his wife noticed something troubling. He began forgetting small but important details. At first, it was little things like misplacing his reading glasses or asking the same question twice in one evening. Then one day, he completely forgot that he had already given a tutoring assignment to a student and repeated the same instructions word for word. When Mr. Kim came to see me, I began with my usual detailed health history. His diet in general looked excellent, plenty of vegetables, lean protein, and limited processed food. But one habit stood out. Every night without fail, he ate a generous serving of tropical fruit, before bed mango, pineapple, or papaya, because he believed these fruits were packed with vitamins and therefore beneficial. What Mr. Kim didn't know was that tropical fruits, while nutrient-rich, are also high in natural sugars called fructose. For the aging brain, a large dose of fructose right before sleep can be problematic. At night, the liver works to process and store this sugar, but with age, liver efficiency declines. The excess sugar remains in the bloodstream longer, contributing to inflammation and oxidative stress in brain tissue. This can disrupt the hippocampus's ability to consolidate new memories. We placed Mr. Kim on continuous glucose monitoring for a week, and the results were striking. His blood sugar would surge sharply after his fruit snack and remain elevated for hours into the night, precisely when his brain should have been repairing itself. These spikes also corresponded to the mornings he reported feeling foggy or struggling to recall details from the day before. When I explained the connection, Mr. Kim was shocked. He had assumed that because fruit is natural, it must be safe. After replacing his nightly tropical fruit with a small portion of berries earlier in the evening, his glucose pattern stabilized, and within weeks both he and his wife noticed an improvement in his clarity and recall. This is why it's so important not to judge a food solely by its reputation for being healthy. The timing, portion, and your body's stage in life all matter. And if you think fruit is the only danger lurking in your nighttime routine, the next culprit might be even more surprising. It's a pantry staple that could be inflaming your brain without you knowing it. Inflammation is a silent enemy of the brain. You can't feel it directly, you can't see it, and yet it can steadily eat away at your cognitive sharpness. Inflammation is the body's natural defense mechanism designed to fight off injury or infection. But when it becomes chronic, lingering at low levels day after day, it begins to damage healthy tissues, including the delicate neurons that store your memories. Certain nighttime snacks are particularly good at triggering this kind of low-grade inflammation. You might be surprised to learn that even foods free from refined sugar can have this effect. Take healthy nut mixes, for example. Many of the packaged varieties are coated with vegetable oils high in omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6 fats are essential in small amounts, too much, especially without balancing omega-3s, can tip the body into a pro-inflammatory state. This is exactly what happened to Mr. Lee, a 66-year-old former architect. He came to me worried about his increasing difficulty recalling names of former colleagues and struggling with word finding during conversations. His diet looked decent overall, but every night as he read before bed, he enjoyed a handful of lightly roasted mixed nuts from a popular brand. The label showed they were roasted in soybean oil and sprinkled with a small amount of salt. Over time, this nightly ritual was bathing his body in inflammatory compounds at the very moment his brain should have been repairing itself during deep sleep. When the brain is inflamed, its protective barrier, the blood-brain barrier, becomes more permeable. This means harmful molecules can sneak into brain tissue more easily, causing oxidative stress that disrupts electrical signaling between neurons. The hippocampus, responsible for processing and storing memories, is especially sensitive to these changes. After removing the store-bought nut mix and replacing it with a small serving of raw walnuts eaten earlier in the evening, Mr. Lee's morning clarity improved within a month. He described it as waking up without the mental fog he had grown used to. This is why I caution my patients. It's not just sugar you have to watch out for. It's the hidden inflammatory triggers in seemingly innocent snacks. And as you'll see in the next section, even a simple bowl of cereal at night can set off a similar chain reaction that erodes memory faster than you think. Mrs. Park was 72, a lively grandmother who adored her 3 grandchildren and prided herself on keeping an active mind. She volunteered at the local library, read history books, and did crossword puzzles every morning. Yet, over the past year, she began to notice troubling slips. She would forget the names of regular library patrons, misplace her phone in odd places, and occasionally repeat the same story to her daughter without realizing it. When she came to see me, I reviewed her medical history, medications, and lifestyle. Most things looked good. No major health crises, a balanced diet during the day, and regular exercise. But one detail stood out. Every night before bed, she had just a small bowl of cereal. It was her comfort ritual. Sometimes she'd choose a brand-based cereal for digestive health, other times a whole grain flake with a splash of milk. The problem was that even cereals marketed as healthy often contain enough processed carbohydrates to cause a significant glucose spike, especially at night. And dairy, while nutritious for many, can be harder to digest as we age, leading to subtle digestive inflammation that impacts the entire body, including the brain. For seniors, these late-night spikes and inflammatory responses can interfere with the glymphatic system, the brain's cleaning network that becomes most active during deep sleep. When that system is disrupted, waste products like beta-amyloid, a key player in Alzheimer's, aren't cleared as effectively. We decided to run a continuous glucose monitor test for Mrs. Park. The results showed that her blood sugar would jump sharply after her cereal snack and stay elevated well past midnight. This correlated with her mornings feeling foggy and her difficulty recalling recent events. When I explained the science to her, she was shocked. Like many people, she assumed that a small serving couldn't possibly make a difference. But for an aging brain with reduced metabolic flexibility, even modest carbohydrate loads at the wrong time can have outsized effects. We replaced her cereal with a few slices of avocado and a cup of herbal tea taken an hour before bed. Within weeks, she reported waking up feeling more alert and having fewer memory lapses. It's a perfect example of how habits we think are harmless can over time slowly chip away at cognitive sharpness. And if cereal surprised you, the next section will show how even the natural rhythm of your sleep cycle can turn nighttime eating into a memory-damaging trap. Your brain isn't just resting when you sleep, it's working hard. Deep within its intricate network, specialized cells are cleaning out toxins, repairing connections, and storing the memories you formed during the day. This complex maintenance schedule runs on a strict clock guided by your sleep cycles. During deep, slow-wave sleep, your brain's glymphatic system operates at peak capacity, washing away harmful waste products like beta-amyloid and tau proteins, both of which are linked to dementia when they accumulate. But here's the problem. Late-night eating can disrupt this process. When you snack close to bedtime, your body shifts resources toward digestion and away from these vital brain-cleaning tasks. For seniors whose repair cycles are already less efficient, this disruption can have long-term consequences. I remember a patient, Mr. Han, 69, who came to me complaining of frequent morning grogginess and increasing forgetfulness. He wasn't eating large portions before bed, just a light snack of whole grain toast with peanut butter. However, the combination of carbs and fat required extended digestion, subtly delaying the onset of deep sleep. A sleep study revealed his brain was spending less time in slow-wave stages than average for his age. This meant less memory consolidation and less removal of harmful waste. The science behind this is clear. Your body's circadian rhythm naturally slows digestion at night, so food remains in your stomach longer. This keeps your metabolism active when it should be powering down, signaling your brain to delay or shorten deep sleep cycles. Over time, this can create a backlog of unprocessed waste in brain tissue, making it harder to form new memories and recall old ones. Once Mr. Han shifted his last meal to at least 3 hours before bedtime, his deep sleep duration improved, and so did his mental clarity. He even described it as waking up with a sharper mind. If you've been thinking, well, I only snack on something savory, so I'm safe, think again. The next section reveals how certain salty snacks can dehydrate your brain overnight and leave it struggling to function the next day. Dehydration isn't just about feeling thirsty, it can directly affect how your brain works. Your brain is made up of about 75% water, and even mild dehydration can impair concentration, slow reaction times, and reduce short-term memory. While most people think dehydration comes only from not drinking enough fluids, The truth is that certain foods, especially salty nighttime snacks, can pull water out of your cells while you sleep. I once treated a patient named Mr. U71, a retired engineer who prided himself on staying hydrated. He drank water throughout the day, yet still woke up groggy and mentally sluggish. His diet looked reasonable until I asked him to walk me through his evening routine. Every night while watching TV, he enjoyed a small handful of salted crackers with a slice or two of cheese. The problem: both crackers and cheese are high in sodium. Eating them before bed caused a subtle increase in blood sodium levels overnight. To balance this, the body pulled water from tissues, including the brain, leading to a mild form of nighttime dehydration. This can shrink brain cells slightly, making it harder for neurons to communicate efficiently. For someone with an aging brain, even this small reduction in performance can make a noticeable difference in memory recall and mental clarity the next morning. When we swapped his salty snack for a few slices of cucumber with unsalted hummus, the difference was remarkable. Within 2 weeks, Mr. Yu reported fewer blank moments in conversation and said his mornings felt sharper and more energetic. Salty foods aren't the only danger. Some snacks, even those rich in healthy fats, can pose risks if eaten too close to bedtime. In fact, the next section will show how certain high-fat snacks, often considered beneficial, can quietly restrict your brain's oxygen supply while you sleep. We often hear about the benefits of healthy fats, how nuts, seeds, and certain cheeses can support heart health, reduce inflammation, and even nourish brain cells. While this is true in the right context, timing is everything. Eating these high-fat foods too close to bedtime can actually interfere with brain function, particularly in older adults. Here's why: when you consume fatty foods late at night, your body prioritizes digesting them over other nighttime processes. Fat digestion is slow and resource-intensive, meaning your system remains metabolically active for hours. This can slightly elevate your heart rate and alter blood flow patterns, reducing the oxygen supply available to the brain during sleep. One of my patients, Mrs. Lee, age 70, illustrates this perfectly. She was a firm believer in the power of healthy fats and ate a small bowl of mixed nuts, almonds, cashews, and walnuts every night about 30 minutes before bed. She thought this was supporting her brain health, but she began noticing episodes of word-finding difficulty, especially in the mornings, along with a subtle mental fog. When we ran an overnight oxygen saturation test, we found that her oxygen levels dipped slightly during the first few hours of sleep, precisely when her body was working hardest to digest the fats. Combined with the natural age-related decline in circulation, this was enough to impair her brain's nighttime recovery and memory consolidation. The solution wasn't to cut healthy fats entirely, but to shift their timing. We moved her nut snack to mid-afternoon and suggested a light, low-fat, low-sugar option before bed if she felt hungry. Within a month, Mrs. Lee reported clearer thinking in the mornings and fewer pauses in conversation. It's another example of how even the right foods can become wrong for your brain if eaten at the wrong time. And that's why in the final section, I'll guide you through safer, brain-friendly nighttime habits so you can protect your memory without feeling deprived. By now, you've seen how something as ordinary as a nighttime snack can quietly erode your memory over time. It's not always the junk food you expect. Sometimes it's the fruit you thought was healthy, the cereal you believed was harmless, or the nuts you ate for brain health. For seniors, the timing, composition, and portion size of food can make the difference between waking up sharp and alert or groggy and forgetful. The core message is simple: as we age, our bodies and especially our brains process food differently. Nighttime is when your brain should be resting, repairing and consolidating memories, not working overtime to digest sugar, salt, or fat. Every late-night snack that spikes blood sugar, fuels inflammation, or dehydrates your brain is stealing valuable repair time you can't get back. The good news: you can still enjoy food in a way that supports memory and cognitive health. Here are some safe, brain-friendly alternatives for evening hunger. Berries. Rich in antioxidants and low in sugar, they help protect brain cells from oxidative damage. Avocado slices provide healthy fats without spiking blood sugar, especially when eaten earlier in the evening. Unsalted pumpkin seeds, a source of magnesium and zinc important for nerve function. Herbal teas. Chamomile or lemon balm can promote relaxation and better sleep quality. Cucumber or celery sticks, hydrating low-calorie options that don't burden digestion. Plain Greek yogurt, if tolerated a small amount, provides protein and probiotics with minimal sugar. And remember these rules for safe evening eating. Avoid snacks within 2 to 3 hours of bedtime. Keep portions small and balanced. Pair protein or healthy fat with fiber if eating in the evening. Skip refined sugars and high-sodium foods at night. Hydrate throughout the day, but avoid excess liquids right before bed to prevent sleep disruption. Listen to your body. True hunger is different from habit or boredom. I've seen many seniors reclaim mental clarity simply by adjusting their nighttime eating habits. It's not about perfection, it's about making small, consistent changes that give your brain the best chance to function at its peak. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together we can protect your memory one smart choice at a time.